having proudly announced that there will be no more tinkering on the fleet, naturally the cars had other ideas. Yeah, you can always rely on the cars to do their bit to help. Ellie the 2CV has a really bad exhaust leak and it's getting pretty serious, and fumes are coming in on the overrun especially, and it's, yeah, I'm having to drive everywhere with the window open. Not good. Tuck has a broken indicator stalk that I'd entirely forgotten about. Both cars are meant to be going on road runs this weekend at the time of filming. 2CV going on a road run up to Port Merion, where The Prisoner was filmed, very pretty little Welsh village, and Tuck is meant to be going on the second Mach run. She went on one last year with all the really fast hot hatchbacks and everything, and I'm planning to do that again on the Sunday. So let's just quickly talk about what's wrong with the 2CV. The problem is I've managed to locate a leak on this exhaust manifold down here. You can see how beautifully accessible that is. You can't even see it because it's so dark. There's one of the nuts. So the leak is there, and if I'm going to disturb that joint, which means having to take the entire manifold off to do anything about it, yeah, I might as well replace the gaskets. So I've ordered up some fresh exhaust gaskets, so getting started on that job is really going to have to wait, but I can still remove everything the carburetor assembly has got to come off. I just want to check for play. Oh yeah, I'm wondering whether this carb's leaking air a bit. You can see a fair bit of play in that shaft because there is no bearing or bush. It just acts on the casing and wears it thusly. And I know some people beef up the throttle return springs. Oh yeah, that's really bad as well by the look of it. But then that just wears that shaft out even more. And oh, that's what I should have ordered. Should have ordered a new hose as well. I wonder if I'm too late to add that to the order. Yeah, sod it. That'll do for now. That's fine. So yeah, bits are on the way, but I can get started, so I'll start tearing into that. But while it's dry, I thought I'd have a look at Tuck's indicator stalk. This is the replacement one, and if we go over to Tuck, the problem is this complete idiot managed to snap a piece off. Oh, get my microphone caught up in everything. On the original stalk. So this is the original stalk here. If the focus will catch up. There we go. And yeah, there's a piece snapped off the end here, which should hold this in that position. So you click beyond it to get the main beam on, but it's stuck there. So the main beam is permanently on, which is undesirable, I should say. So we've got the connector is under here somewhere, I think. Oh, there it is. We've got a connector there, but then I think there's a sub connector somewhere, if I remember rightly, because I thought this had the cathedral connector on it, but now it's looking like it hasn't. And now I'm going, oh dear, because that means I've got the wrong stalk. Well, that's irritating. I could have sworn that was a cathedral connector. Maybe that was the Fox. Bother. So the question is, has my stash got a stalk with that connector on it? That's a more standard connector. That makes a lot more sense. So it's all gone very hub nut. I've got the wrong stalk with the wrong connector. That's entirely joyous. Now, I don't think my random collection of stalks that I ordered from the internet has anything approaching the right kind of connectors. That doesn't look like it'll match at all. Oh dear. I guess I won't be fixing that job today then. The only thing I can do is maybe rig up a cable tie. It'll give me no main beam, but I shouldn't be driving at night, so that shouldn't be an issue. So if I rig up a cable tie just to hold the stalk there, I think it'll hopefully still have enough movement that it can do that without going like that. That's going to be an interesting experiment. Well, there's a severe danger that might become a permanent temporary fix, but I think that's going to work. That seems to have the desired result. Fixed! In that case, I'll push on with the 2CV job. First thing to do is push her back a bit, I think, so she's more under the light. we go, gives me a bit more light to play with. And I can start the joyous business of ripping all the manifold off. I suppose I shouldn't complain if this is like the only problem she managed to develop during that road trip to Croatia and back. That's a cable tie that holds the wiring loom. There should be a metal clip underneath the air filter, which is the stupidest idea ever, because if that chased through the wiring, then you get unfused electricity, then shorting out on the clip, lovely fire. All very exciting and undesirable, I would say, for the most part. Right, disconnect the battery. Terminal's still far too loose for most people on the internet, but it seems to work for me. And disconnect the alternator. This is now getting more difficult, so I've packed all my tools. So, fortunately, they haven't gone far. Oh, naturally, the thing to do is get the job started before you remember you have such a thing as gloves. Why do I do this every single time? Is it even worth me owning gloves? Answers on a postcard, please. I think this leak must have been going on for some time, because I've had a pong of exhaust on the rover overrun for a long time. There are two exhaust smells, or two smells that come through the heater on the 2CV. Cylinder head joint can leak. That's a very sweet smell, and you typically get a blast of that when you come off the throttle after working it hard. I'm getting popping as well, and the smell from an exhaust leak is much sharper. It's well, it smells of exhaust. The cylinder head one is sweeter for some reason. What do we need to do? Really do we getting that loom out of the way? Do you want to take the wings off? I think it's going to be easier. There is so much that needs dismantling just to get this one joint. I've got to disconnect the entire exhaust system, which is really annoying, because otherwise that's working fine. But there is, having said that, maybe I can get away. Maybe there's enough movement in the joints to permit me to do that. But to make it easier to get the inlet manifold bolts, because the exhaust and inlet are one part, I think I need to yeah, get the wings off. I think that's going to make life a lot easier. And let's face it, it's not like it's a hard job to do, is it really, in the big scheme of things? I'll take you through it. I'm going to put my 11mm back where it should be, make it proper. And I think the 8mm is going to need a smaller ratchet. It's even easier on old 2CVs that don't have these silly little sail panels. The remarkable thing is I've got space on my workbench because I've cleared it, although there's mostly a toolkit on it at the moment. Just to follow up on my favourite videos vlog, apologies for the sound, it didn't sound that bad on my computer, but when I listened back to it on my other computer through the big house speakers, yeah, it sounded awful. The bass was very bad because of all the road noise, so I'm very sorry for that. That was entirely my fault. I forgot to put my microphone on, but I've recorded the vlog and I didn't really want to do it again because I can never remember what I've said. Some oversights. Some people didn't notice I didn't mention Aging Wheels or Miller Corner, who I collaborated with recently. There's not time to mention everyone. It's the great thing about YouTube, you can lose yourself in all sorts of stuff. I'm currently very fond of the electronic duo Gioli and, or is it Gioli? I don't know, and Asher. They're worth checking out as well. But yeah, so much of my viewing pleasure comes from YouTube. So yeah, I don't just post to it, I very much enjoy it myself. And watching other people is always good. You pick up ideas and tips. I'm very envious of how most people use a wireless microphone. It makes a big difference. But I don't have one of those that works satisfactorily, so you'll have to make do with the sound coming and going as I walk away. So that's the 8mm sorted out. We now disconnect the indicator wiring, and I think that's it, and we get the 19s out. Take an extension, makes life easier. Oh, isn't it easy to find your tools when you've put them back? That's amazing. This could be the future. We don't need to remove these entirely, just loosen these ones. That was a bit loose anyway, that's a bit remiss of me. Because while Rick fitted the kingpins, I put the bodywork back on. So the one at the back of the wing I'll take off completely, it makes life easier. Go there. And then there's one in the engine bay right here. Again, that's a loosen job, and I'll just give you a different angle. Hopefully you can see a bit more of what's going on as the wing comes off. This is always the bit that makes me cringe most. This bit is never fun. I'm just going to move this flat bag of rubbish, because I am actually throwing stuff away, and here we go. So there's a dump tube coming into the wing, which I need to pull it off. I need to pull it off the front mounts. There we go. I need to encourage this dump pipe out, and then try and get this out without scratching it. That has gone remarkably well. I don't usually do that good a job of it. And with that off, obviously the I was resting on that. That was not clever. That's the sail panel I took off. Now the access is all the better, because we've got to get to these two here. And yeah, I mean I've only got to lift the manifold enough to clear these threads, and that'll enable me to get the new gasket in. So I reckon that's looking good. I can see where the heat has been coming out and eating at the cowling. These more modern cowlings are not good. The metal ones are far better. So yeah, I'll do the same on the other side, but I'll spare you the agony, and I'll just get that wing whipped off with the power of magic. That's a lot easier. I wish I could do that in real life. Right, now I need to decide how much else I'm going to try and remove, and I don't think I'm going to try and remove anything. I'm going to undo the nuts and the bolts that hold the manifold in, and see how much movement we've got, see if we've got enough. Naturally, I've managed to drop one of the nuts. It is just, you can just see it glinting down there beyond the fuel pump. I haven't got my magnetic pickup stick. I packed that yesterday, so that's now in the new workshop. And my long nose pliers aren't going to reach that. Joy! This is why it takes me forever to do anything. Well, I managed to get the sodding little thing, managed to flick it out with a file of all things. Let's see if the other side goes better. Where did I put the ratchet? Down here. Ah, no, I need to release the alternator, or the manifold can move. So first of all, we have to take that little cover off. It's got an air-cooled alternator by the engine fan. Just blows air up through that cover, keeps the alternator nice and cool. And then I need to go back to the 11s, probably with an extension and an 11 spanner. Undo the adjuster. That's the adjuster out. With the adjuster I've got to undo the 14. Now I'm going to have to undo the 14 as well, which is the main bolt that holds it in place. So quick and easy when you can put your hands on tools. There we go. And the alternator's off. We are getting there. There should be a shake-proof washer on there, but it doesn't seem to have come loose, so we'll say that's good enough. Has occurred to me the other thing holding it all in place is the air box, so I'm going to have to take that off as well. Now, a horrible feeling that's 16mm bolts holding the airbox in, but we'll see. I might have changed them for 17s. No, it's 16s, and I think I've only got one 16mm spanner, and my guess is it isn't here. That toolkit does not have one. 17, 17, 11, 15. Oh, this could be mega annoying. Why would they use a 16mm? The annoying little French people. Should we place bets as to what's on the other side? My guess is this one is a 17. Yep. Obviously. Go. We disconnect this breather pipe. There. We should be able to get this off. Oh, there's 11mm on the back of it, which I done forget about. So yeah, now we're undoing a bolt on the gearbox because something needs undoing on the exhaust manifold. This is yeah, this is kind of typical of French cars. But to access that one bolt, you end up having to dismantle half the engine. But at least it isn't a Citroen CX. Oh, there we go. That was clever. Yeah, someone snipped the wiring loom to it there as well. But nonetheless, let's see if that'll free up the manifold. Yes, that side. Hey! And there's our problem. That gasket has blown out on that edge, as you can see. Unfortunately, that suggests the manifold isn't perhaps sitting very flush on there, but it is something that happens. And that's the end of that job. Now I need to wait for tomorrow and a delivery from the postman, which had better arrive tomorrow because the day after is when we do the run. Just take a moment to say, if you're coming to the Hubnut Social here in Wales on the 12th, 13th of October, on the 12th it is possible to get a discount on this train. The Vale of Rydal leaves Aberystwyth at 10:30 in the morning. That ride only, you can get a 10% discount. There it is. If you quote Hubnut only on the day. They have never done this before. They've never really done a discount code, especially for a group. So I'm thrilled that they're doing that. Really pleased. It's very kind of them. And yeah, I will be coming down to the Aberystwyth end to say hello, probably from about 9:45 to 10 o'clock. But yeah, make sure you're there early so you can book your tickets, get on the train, 10% discount. That's not to be sniffed at. And then I'll be driving up to the Devil's Bridge end, which is yonder, and hopefully have all of the cars there, the full Hubnut fleet, and a few special guests as well. So that should be good fun. So yeah, that's October the 12th. Please do email ian@hubnut.org if you're planning to come along, just trying to keep an eye on numbers. We don't want it to get too silly. Just a top tip, the train goes back at 12:30, so if you want to grab some lunch up at the Devil's Bridge end and you're on the train, you've got to grab your lunch before 12:30. If you're not on the train, I recommend waiting until after 12:30. Cafe should hopefully be a little bit quieter. That's Two Hoots Cafe at the Devil's Bridge end, run by my friends Sean and Alan, and yeah, I'm sure they'll give you a warm welcome on the day. Right, nothing to be done here. Need to wait for parts. So go and have a cup of tea, I guess. It's another blissful day in paradise. It's pouring down with rain, but importantly, I have my gaskets. These are the Kevlar or carbon fibre manifold gaskets, and I've got a couple of new B7HS spark plugs as well. I was running B8s on the trip, but B8s, yeah, they seem to have problems as well, which I think all stems from I've got issues of a fueling nature. I think it's either running too rich or too weak, or both, or everything. And until I get a chance to investigate, and I was hoping to do that before going to New Zealand, ain't gonna happen. Yeah, I'm no further along really, so I'll just keep putting plugs in. The B8s that are in it I fitted in the Netherlands on my way to Croatia, so they've done a fair few miles to be fair, but she's now getting to the stage she won't start very readily. So new plugs, definitely a good idea, but not as needed as these are, the new gaskets. Now, ECAS 2CV parts, where I buy a lot of my 2CV bits, do say that you need to make sure the manifold is flat. I'm not really sure how to achieve that without dismantling the whole thing. I really don't want to have to take the whole manifold off. It's just a pain in the backside. It involves taking the carburetor off, heat exchangers, the lot. Don't really want to go there. So I think I'm just going to have a feel with my measuring fingers. Yeah, okay. It's a bit crusty on that side. I have some nice flat files. We'll just give it a bit of a coax underneath. It's hardly scientific, but this is Hubnut, so it's fine. Yeah, I think that's mostly carbon deposits that are coming off, but nonetheless we shall chuck a new gasket in and hope for the best. I don't tend to use any goo, especially when I've left said goo in my other unit. The downside to packing all your stuff up is all the stuff ends up somewhere else and all my exhaust paste is there. So what I might do is just put a smear of copper grease around, because the copper grease tends to carbonise in the heat and can help seal. A lot of people, me included, use them on the exhaust joint. So we'll get some copper grease, which is actually to hand because I've been tidying up. It's a miracle, and we'll give it a healthy dollop. Off camera, so you can't see how much mess I'm making of myself. I mean, really, exhaust gases come out with such force that nothing is going to stop them, really. If there's actually a gap somewhere. Nonetheless, it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm doing something useful. Let's get the gasket the right way around. There we go. One side ready to go back on, and do the other one as well. Oh, I must do a bit of a hair update. Some of you will remember that I used to have rather a lot of hair, and I donated a full 12 inches of it to the Little Princess Trust, so they can make a wig out of it for children. Something I had to do before I got too much grey hair. People suggested I should do a fundraiser on that, and I was a bit reluctant to, because all I was doing was getting a haircut, albeit a fairly serious one. but I did do it, and the total raised, including gift aid, £1,965, which is remarkable. So that money will be going to the Little Princess Trust. Well, I suspect Virgin Giving will take a cut, but most of that will be going to the Little Princess Trust, and that's amazing. I'm sure it'll make a big difference to them. Right. Oh! Bloody hell, Ellie, that's sharp. And now I haven't got any hair to protect my head. You know what, maybe I should give that side a bit of a blast with the old weldery thing. I've packed everything. I've even packed my blooming paper towels. Yeah, where's my flat file gone? There it is. I can just see that this one was starting to go a bit as well. Right then, with that done, now comes the scary business of trying to get the manifold back on. Okay. Why isn't that going back on? What is causing the upset at this juncture? Heat exchanger has come off the cowling, that's what's going on there. This isn't going to work. I'm going to have to loosen off the blooming heat exchangers. Hoping not to go here. The less joints you can disturb, the better generally. I suppose that should be fewer, technically. There we go, that's looking a whole lot healthier. So yeah, the heat exchanger has to fit on the cowling down here, that's what was going amiss. Got this part here where the cowling comes up inside it, it was catching on that, but now we're sitting all flush everywhere. I can start getting things back in. The inlet manifold bolts are a swine. This is why I'm reluctant to get too involved in, why I don't like taking them off. You must use pointed bolts. See that bolt has a point, might focus one day. Alternatively, maybe it won't focus. I don't think it is going to focus, but it's a pointed bolt. It has a pointy end on it, and we'll give that a touch of copper grease as well. But yeah, getting them in can be a bit of a swine because they have to be at just the right angle, and you have to be so careful not to knacker up the thread, obviously. Yeah, fun times. I'll start with those because the nuts on the front, easy peasy, easy as pie. So the best bet is to get each one started and then gently work them in, making sure not to get any of them too tight. Now typically that's not a pointy one. Maybe we won't use that one for that job then. That must be an exhaust one. Pointy is where we want. Just helps it get started and aligned. I'll try on this side. Fortunately, the inlet manifold gaskets have stuck to the cylinder head, so that helps me a great deal. So as I'm getting them started with a ratchet, I'm just feeling for any binding, but no binding was detected in this sector, so I shall continue. So I'm feeling good. Final one. So it's a bit unusual for me. I'm actually recording fairly continuously. I'm trying to make it a bit more vloggy, so let's see if that works. I will still edit out silences because they're awkward. Hello George, why are you in the rain? Very silly cat. You can come in the garage if you want, George, seeing as it's raining. Never usually allowed in any circumstances. Click. Never go too crazy because these are going into aluminium. They really do need to be just tight enough. And no tighter. George doesn't want to be a star today, sorry everyone. Super, now we can go for nuts. And I've got posh brass nuts. They seem to handle the heat a bit better than a normal one, so they actually come undone. I'll just put them all in place before we start any ratcheting. All with a shape-proof washer as well. Last one. Right, front clamps all done. Now going to move on to the rears. Leaving the heat exchanger clamps at the front loose for now, to make it easier to get the rear ones done. Otherwise it becomes a bit of a ball ache. Anyone who's fitted a 2CV exhaust before will know exactly what I'm on about. I need another nut. Good to have a brass nut there, very fancy. Yeah, that's not a very happy plug. So we'll take B8HS out. I mean, to be fair, that has covered at least 3,000 miles, so yeah, no surprising that that one's better. And iron the gap, yeah, I reckon that's good enough. Always start the spark plugs by hand. I like to give them a good few turns. Even then I'll wind it in with the ratchet off just to make sure I'm entirely happy, but that feels fine. That'll do. Don't go too crazy with the tightening. So much easier to do with the front body work off. It's all a bit tight when it isn't. Ugh. Oh, that one doesn't look too bad. That just looks merely tired. Maybe that's alright. Eyeball the gap. Yep, fine. Yep, feels happy. And now the actual exciting bit where we start it up and see if she sounds beautiful and serene or rather farty. So there he goes. Interesting. That sounds like an entirely dead ignition system. Unless all the fuel's just evaporated out of the fuel bowls because I didn't have it connected properly. So HTV's connected, coil wires connected. Sounds alright. There is an annoying rattle coming from an exhaust clamp under the car, so we'll ignore that. I need to find a bit of hose. To do. So, bit in the ear. Sounds good. Well, hopefully that means no more stinky heater. Right, bodywork back on, and then test drive in the pouring rain. Might not rush to do that bit, might have some lunch instead. Yep, we have working indicators, that's all good apart from this side one which keeps packing up all the time. There we go, that'll work for another 6 seconds. Just checking the oil level. Drop more and it should be good. Still a terrible first for oil, really. Gonna have to get a new breather. But with money getting tight ahead of the New Zealand trip, that is going to have to wait. She won't be clocking up all that many miles before I go away. So sorry old girl. That time will have to come later on. Should do. So the breather is part of the oil filler neck, but I mean there's oil leaking out of the filler neck, which suggests that yeah, things are pressurising that should not be pressurised, so maybe that's why the oil is puking out everywhere. Right, I'm going to say that's set fair, so in the next video we'll be splashing around enjoying the Welsh countryside. Oh yeah.